replacement. Serving the Wichita and surrounding areas since 1999, fully insured and licensed. Call Summit Tech Home Improvement today at 262-3905 or visit WichitaWindowsandSiding.com.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX FM 102.5 and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center, 3250 West 13th Street. Locally owned and operated. Now you have a friend in the tire business. Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center.
Good afternoon, I'm Andy Hooser. Well, Wichita Police Chief Gordon Ramsey is now one of 7 in the final running being considered for the police chief down in Austin, Texas. Cake News reports the announcement came from the Austin city manager, saying that the search had been narrowed from 46 individuals down to the 7. Earlier this year, Austin's former police chief Brian Manley kicked off his retirement early amid criticism following a fatal police shooting and controversial uses of force by officers. In other news, the splash pad at the Evergreen Park in Wichita has been closed due to safety issues. KSN News reports the splash pad opened up on April 15th, but city workers noticed that children climbing on edges of the main water feature caused a safety hazard.
I feel for them, I see a lot of them out there playing or sweating, and it's kind of sad, and it'd be nice. It's in the right neighborhood, and we do have a lot of kids in this neighborhood, so.
That audio from KSN News. Megan Lovely, the City of Wichita communication manager, said they want to make sure that kids are safe as possible. And while it's disappointing to have it shut down, they want to make sure that the kids come first. Now let's go to sports.
The Wichita Wind Surge continued their dominance in the AA Central North Division yesterday, taking on the Northwest Arkansas Naturals in the series opener and ending the game with a final score of 18-8. The Kansas City Royals' 6-game win streak ended yesterday as they were bested by the White Sox in the second game of the series 5-3. And Dayton Moore has made it clear that he is planning to keep core players and key contributors for 2022 on the Kansas City Royals' current rosters, presumably meaning second baseman Whit Merrifield. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Adam Cook.
Are you ready for your next new vehicle but think you're out of options? Well, think again. Rusty Egg Ford has a huge selection of certified pre-owned vehicles available right now.
At Rusty Egg Ford, these certified vehicles offer the price advantage of buying pre-owned with the security of a manufacturer-backed warranty. Like Ford's, with up to 7 years and 100,000 miles. These certified vehicles also come fully inspected and do not depreciate as much after driving off the lot, preserving the value of your car. You also receive 24/7 roadside assistance and travel interruption reimbursement. Now that's driving with total peace of mind. Rusty Egg Ford is your #1 certified pre-owned Ford dealer in Wichita.
Rusty Egg Ford is here to make sure you have plenty of options. If you don't come see us today, we can't save you any money. Visit rustyeggford.com.
Offers valid on select in-stock vehicles with approved credit plus tax and fees. Not all qualify. See dealer for details. Based on 5/20/21 sales. Offers expire 7/31/21.
It's that time of year when the grill is always the best cooking option, so stop by your favorite Yoder Meats location to pick up some great meat for the grill. Steaks, chops, burgers, brats, marinated chicken, we've got it all, plus a nice variety of specialty items that you won't find anywhere else. Our Yoder Meats bundles and butcher bags are great options for buying in bulk and saving, and for a special treat, how about our homemade cinnamon rolls, cakes, and cookies? Don't forget the snack sticks for a quick bite on the go. Follow us on Facebook for all the latest information and specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
Market information from Mid-America Ag Network. Going to take a look at Kansas and Oklahoma's closing cash grain bids. It is Wednesday, July 28th. We saw some upward movement in a couple of areas in our cash grains. Let's take a look at how things finished up. We'll start in Oklahoma today. Ponca City, wheat finished at $6.31, corn $6.25, Milo $5.99, soybeans $13.81. At Enid, the wheat finished at $6.50, the Milo $6.29, the beans $13.11. Panhandle Hooker, the wheat $6.64, the corn finished at $6.59 rather. The Milo $5.99 and the soybeans $13.66. We'll get to Kansas now, starting at Goodland. Wheat finished at $6.26, corn $6.04, Milo $5.59, soybeans $14.01. At Concordia, wheat closed out the day at $6.40, corn is $5.99, Milo $5.94, soybeans $13.81. Sumner County, the wheat $6.46, the corn $6.29, Milo $6.09, soybeans $14.12. At Garden City, wheat finished up at $6.43, corn $6.34, Milo $5.99, beans $13.40. At Fredonia, wheat closed out at $6.29, corn $6.44, Milo $6.09, soybeans $14.17. And at Belleville, $6.30 on the wheat, $5.89 on the corn, $5.84 on the Milo, $13.71 on soybeans. Grab the calculator to come up with our averages. And here we go. $6.39 the average across Kansas and Oklahoma on wheat. That's up 18. Corn finished with an average of $6.22. That's unchanged from yesterday. Milo was up 1 at $5.97 on the average. And soybeans across Oklahoma and Kansas averaged $13.75. That's up 3. So wheat was up 18, corn unchanged, Milo up 1, and soybeans up 3. Kansas and Oklahoma closing cash grain bids. Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers, conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Hot this afternoon in Wichita, daytime high up near 98. Heat index could pass 105. South wind at 6 to 12. Remaining clear, quiet and dry tonight, a low near 74. For Thursday, more sunshine, more heat, highs right around 100. With your forecast, I'm Cake meteorologist Frank Wall.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 94 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Has the time arrived? Has the time arrived for Joe Biden to slowly start working his way out of the presidency from the Democrat Party, who is done with his shenanigans, who are done using him as the puppet in the face of good old boy Grandpa Joe that everybody loves, but yet it's kind of a little creepy, but that's every little grandpa or uncle, right? Not really, but that's what they try to portray. Is he finally done being used as a pawn so he can go rest in his dementia retirement home and be done for the rest of his days? It sounds like the media and the Democrats are slowly starting to turn on him, and I find that kind of interesting. Hey, welcome into the show. It is a midweek celebration, the pre-Friday, the post-Monday episode of The Voice of Reason right here, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station, all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Your millennial general reporting for duty, like we love to do every single day. It's going to be a big show for you today. Looking forward to it. As usual, there's not a single show where I'm not happy or excited to get on here and talk to you about some of the fun stuff going on. So today's going to be no different on that one. Coming up, bottom of the hour, Mike Cargile. He is a congressional candidate in the state of California for the 35th district. And he's also with the Election Integrity Project in the state of California to talk about election integrity. So we'll talk with him at the bottom of the hour about his project that's going on. He's a co-plaintiff in that lawsuit on integrity of elections in the state. Also, his run for the congressional candidacy. He's working to try and flip a blue seat into a red seat. Be kind of interesting. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Plus, we have some audio from former President Donald Trump with some speeches that he's done on the campaign trail, quote unquote, trying to get the rallies going for the midterm elections next year. So we got all that. And the big news, of course, today, we're going to have to cover it at some point. Joe Biden making the mandate come down that all federal employees across the nation are mandated to get the COVID-19 vaccine or to get daily or weekly testing, and you must wear a mask if you don't get that vaccine, but it's mandated for all federal employees to get that COVID-19 vaccine. I've had a fun little healthy yet absurdly annoying and ignorant conversation on social media about that today with people like, that's totally fine and totally normal. That's cool. It's not a violation of personal rights or privacy in any way, shape, or form, and they can do anything they want to. Individuals, by the way, that call themselves conservative, so I find that quite interesting. So we'll get to all that and more here on the program. You can find us on our social media live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch.tv, also on the Instagram, TikTok, and the website at HooserReason.com with the handle at Hooser Reason. That's HOOSER Reason on all of your social media. Before I get into all of that, I wanted to do this yesterday because it was kind of hot yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to because we got busy. So I just want to do this briefly, and then I'll move on because I'm sure you've heard it before. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it, and that'll be it. I promise. But the Olympics, don't watch them. I don't care about them. They're a little ridiculous. Kneeling for the flag, kneeling for the national anthem while you're representing the U.S. It's really sad. It's really pathetic. It's really stupid. I don't really care. I find it hilarious that we're not doing well. And by the way, can we just admit that half of these sporting events at the Olympics are really, really, really stupid and unnecessary? I was watching this morning when I got to the station. I was watching the Olympics where they were doing 3-on-3 basketball on a half a court. I know. It wasn't a full court. It wasn't a full team. It was 3-on-3. They were playing basketball on a half a court. Now, we already have basketball tournaments at the Olympics. This is my little rant for a second, and then I'll get to the main point that I'm getting to. They already have main basketball, and the big news was that the U.S. lost to France and how we're supposed to be doing really well and how we haven't won any really games this year for the Olympics and how bad we're doing and what's wrong because they're NBA professional basketball players and we're not doing good. That's been the big news. Why do we have basketball, then we have a half-court 3-on-3 basketball? Because to me, that seems like the people that are like the junior varsity, B-rated, can't get the professional team, but we still want to be in the Olympics to look special, so therefore we're going to have a half basketball team with 3-on-3, and I can't run the entire court back and forth, so I'm just going to do it on a half a court. Does that make any sense to anybody? And this is supposed to be the Olympics where you compete all around the world for the best in the world. But yet we have that. And to me, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. This is why I have zero credibility and actual respect for the Olympics. However, the big news yesterday was, of course, Simone Biles, the gymnast that chose not to actually do her performance there at the Olympics and actually compete. 24-year-old ended up stepping down, not wanting to compete because she said she wasn't mentally ready. Again, my little spiel here for just a second. I don't understand it. Look, I understand mental health issues. I understand depression. I understand anxiety. I understand those things. They're real things. They're things that don't get enough attention in the mainstream because most of society looks at physical things as an issue. But if it's a mental issue or if it's something internally, we're like, you're fine. Just move past it. I get that. I truly do get it. We've had mental health experts and advocates on this show many times before talking about depression, talking about anxiety, talking about mental health issues. I totally get it. However, if you are an Olympian, you have one job. You have one job. I don't know what's going on in her life, and I'm not trying to judge in any way, shape, or form. However, you're there to do one job, which is perform at the Olympics. Now, you have a great record because you've done a lot of great stuff, and she kind of hinted and referenced the fact that there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of stress, trying to hold up. She's not quite ready, and that she'd have to perform, and that's, she's not going to be up to par, and she has such a high reputation to hold up there that she's not ready. So because of those mental illnesses, or mental stability, mental preparation, she's not ready. I would like to remind you, you've had an entire year. I take that back. You've had an entire 2 years because it was canceled last year to prepare for this one singular event. You have one job that you've trained for 2 years, and you weren't prepared mentally to make this happen. I honestly got to say that I think that her stepping out, Simone Biles, I honestly think that her stepping away and not doing the performance is actually going to be more harmful to her reputation as a great Olympic gymnastic individual than actually going out there and doing poorly. And here's what I mean. Just imagine, if you will, Tom Brady, with not the Patriots anymore, but now with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and having so many Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady going to another Super Bowl, riding the team the entire season, going to the Super Bowl and being like, you know what? Not prepared for this one mentally. I'm going to step aside. You don't do that. He's had losses at the Super Bowl. He eats them and he moves forward. But he's there. He shows up because people expect him to show up because that's what he signed up to do. So regardless of whether he's in the proper mental state or not, he shows up. Another example, my guy that I like to talk about all the time, Conor McGregor with the MMA. He is the pound-for-pound best fighter, or at least he was. He was the first guy to hold 2 title belts in 2 different weight classes at the same time. He's got the top record for the fastest knockouts in 3 different weight classes. He's an absolute dominant fighter in the UFC, and he's almost worth $1 billion now. He's got a lot to lose if he continues to go into the octagon and lose fight after fight after fight. Because then they're going to, like they do already, say that he's past his prime, he doesn't have the drive anymore, he's going to lose badly, and they always knock him, and the more he loses, the more he's going to get that heat. But guess what? He still shows up. He could say, you know what, the pressure's way too much. My entire legacy of everything I built is on the line between the sales of my Proper 12 whiskey, between the lineage of the 2 belts being held at the same time for the first ever in UFC, for all the records that I've broken, for all the trash talk that I do, for all the publicity that I do. All of that is on the line. And if I lose this fight, all that pressure is all that stuff is going to fall on me, and it's all going to crumble, and everything that I've worked so hard my entire life to build is going to crush. Guess what? He still shows up. And what happened? He lost. He broke his leg in the last fight. And he still plans to come back because he's not a quitter. But he was, even if he's mentally not there because the pressure got to be too much, he still showed up. So I don't know what's going on in her life, but I don't really care. Because if you show up and you prepare 2 years to go to an event to do something, you kind of need to do it. Even if you lose and you don't do well, you would still have more respect for showing up and making it happen than bow out minutes before the event actually happens when you've trained 2 years to make that happen and people expect you to go and do it. So I don't know what's going on. I hope she's all right. But at the same time, I think you've lost a lot of respect, and I think you're done. I really, truly think you're done. Because if anybody else would have done that, no more sympathy. I don't want to, everybody's like, oh, you know, mental health, it's really important. I give her credit for backing up. I give her credit for, no. Show up and do your damn job. It's like me getting an interview with President Donald Trump and then like the day before I'd be like, I'm too nervous. I can't do this and I'm going to bow out of this. Really? Because my listeners, if I had that opportunity, would want to hear what he has to say and hear me interview former President Donald Trump. You just don't do that. To me, that's the cop-out. That's the cheap way to do it. And I think she's lost a lot of respect and she's done in the Olympics, which is sad. It's really sad. Anyways, that's my little spiel on that. I didn't want to spend as much time on that, but it bugged me because it was more bugging of the response of this with social media and people trying to be like, oh, she's fine, and oh, we hope she's all right, and oh, great to her, and oh, she's got my respect for making that decision. No. You signed up to do a job. People spent money for you to do that. People gave time and energy to train you to do that, to prepare you to do that, and then you back out because you weren't prepared yourself. That's your fault when you had 2 years to do that, and no one else would get that type of response if it were that. So I don't like it. I don't respect that. Show up, even if you don't do your best. Make it happen. And I think it's shameful that society's now just kind of openly accepted, like, oh, it's a mental thing. It's all right. Come on. Fight through it. We're not that weak. We're not that much of snowflakes. Let's make it happen and let's power through, shall we? Speaking of people that just don't have quite the strength of mental stability, we do have someone in the White House. See, that segue? It's beautiful. We do have someone in the White House that's struggling for the same thing as well. He's kind of slipping a little bit. He has been for a while now, but yet he's still the leader of the free world, and he kind of bows out every chance that he gets. This is beautiful. I couldn't even make this up if I tried. He tries. But yet he fails miserably, and now he just doesn't even want to try anymore. And now the media is turning on him. The Daily Beast, a very left-wing progressive website, is now turning on him. The left-wing media starting to go after him. Is it almost time for Joe Biden to be done, and are the Democrats just about done with using him as the puppet? Here's the headline from the Daily Beast. Biden is starting to slip, and he can't blame COVID for it. Here's what they say. He promised, quote, independence from the virus, swore that the inflation was transitory, and claimed that the border crisis was cyclical. No wonder his poll numbers are sagging. 6 months into Joe Biden's presidency, we're still seeing evidence that the tide may be turning against him. The main culprit is the Delta variant and the upended hopes of having turned the corner on COVID-19. But a confluence of concerns like inflation, violent crime, and border are also helping erode the optimism about the future. You said, Joe Biden, you were going to fix these things. You said that the COVID thing would be gone when you got into power. Guess what? We have near 70%-ish of vaccination rate in the nation. We're still seeing virus cases go up. It's all the unvaccinated individuals. That's not true. That's a complete farce and a lie, and you know it, so they can't blame that. Inflation. Oh, that's just great economic policy, but yet it's more expensive, and even the Democrats are starting to turn away from that one. The border crisis. We'll get that turned around. It's only a fluctuation. It only happens near like January time, but yet we still have record numbers. He's failing on everything. He can't manage anything, and even Democrats are starting to turn. The question is, when will they use the excuse to boot him out of office?
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Make plans to join us for the show today. You know how we do it. We're bringing the top news stories that are affecting you, the top stories from social media, pop culture stories, could be in sports. Maybe we'll sing a song or two or three or make fun of somebody that you want us to make fun of. That plus, of course, a big part of the program is you calling in. Look, we can agree, we can debate, we can yell at each other, we can sing a song together. We do it all right here on the Joe Pags Show, Monday through Friday. Today at 5 on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM.
It's that time of year when the grill is always the best cooking option. So stop by your favorite Yoder Meats location to pick up some great meat for the grill. Steaks, chops, burgers, brats, marinated chicken, we've got it all. Plus a nice variety of specialty items that you won't find anywhere else. Our Yoder Meats bundles and butcher bags are great options for buying in bulk and saving. And for a special treat, how about our homemade cinnamon rolls, cakes, and cookies? Don't forget the snack sticks for a quick bite on the go. Follow us on Facebook for all the latest information and specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in
When
Wichita.
it comes to your next quote-unquote new car, buying pre-owned is the new norm. And Midwest Kia is the perfect place to offer you the selection you need. We've got over 300 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and practically every make and model. You want a low-price, reliable economy car? Midwest Kia has it. You want a family sedan ready for your next trip? Midwest Kia has it. You want a luxury SUV loaded with options? Midwest Kia has it. You'll find your next vehicle at a price you want, and you'll always experience Midwest Kia's better way to buy. Want more? We'll also have extra appraisers available to get you the best deal for your trade-in. How about more? Many of our pre-owned vehicles are 2020s with less than 10,000 miles, so what are you waiting for? Midwest Kia is your one-stop shop. MidwestKia.com.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
Severity of credit with down payment, APR, turn, and vehicle with approved credit plus tax and fees. Expires 7/31/21.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
24 minutes past the hour, radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, all over the interweb. By the way, I know we're coming up to the end of the month. We have just a couple days left for this month, which is awesome. So we're getting up towards August already. Drives me wild how fast this is actually going. But our downloads for the podcast, absolutely killing it this month. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. We're seeing more growth all over the place, more people signing up, more people listening to the show. The numbers are up month. I mean, it's growing every single month, but it usually, a little tier. We had like a big jump. It was like, athletes when they started taking steroids and we saw the massive jump. We saw that this one compared to last month with our downloads for the podcast. So that's awesome. Also had some new people sign up for the newsletter as well. Thank you for that. You can do so at HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com. You can sign up. It'll pop up with the little thing and say, do you want to become a Hoosier-holic? You sign up yes, type in your email. It's totally free. We do not spam you all the time. It's just a once-a-month email. We'll send you like an introduction like, hey, welcome and thanks for becoming a Hoosier-holic. Then we'll send you our monthly newsletter at the beginning of each month. I think this one's going to come out on Monday next week. So if you have not done so yet, now's your chance to do so. Again, HooserReason.com. Sign up for the newsletter. It's got our monthly blog on there. It's got some civic holidays for the upcoming month. We have kind of a recap from the show with our guests and stuff we've talked about upcoming for the new month, what's going on with the Hoosier Media Network, which I've gotten some emails about that because if you watch any of the video from the stream that we do on TV, we do different production for podcasting. We do voiceover work. We do video and audio production. And then eventually, as we're working, I can't disclose a lot of it yet, but we got a heck of a big project going on, numerous different big projects for the network that are in the queue, ready to go as we launch some more stuff with it. So a lot of opportunity. If you wanted more information, you can go to HooserReason.com or email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. All right, that's enough of the little plugs there. Joe Biden, is he on his way out? We knew it was going to happen. We've talked about it even before he became president, when he quote-unquote won the election, or even when he won the nomination. We knew he would not last long. He makes ridiculous, absurd comments. He says stupid stuff all the time. He can't remember or hold a train of thought at all. We've gotten the quote-unquote inside scoop from the media with him in the White House, where he doesn't even start his day until like 9:30 in the morning, which is terrible. You're the leader of the free world, and you're not starting your day till 9:30 in the morning? I know that you're not always hands-on with everything because you have to learn to macromanage, not micromanage, and actually delegate projects. So I get it. It's not you doing everything, but still, you're the president. I remember the other presidents in the inside scoop. They try to make it so exclusive every time. George W. Bush was in the workout room running on the treadmill at like 5:30 in the morning, get his press briefings on what's going on around the world. I remember Donald Trump sleeping like 2 hours a night because of a type A personality business guy that never sleeps, and he's always working constantly while they made fun of him walking around the White House in his robe in the middle of the night. Joe Biden doesn't even start his day until 9:30. For crying out loud. He can't do a speech. He can't read a teleprompter. He has to take cue cards to actually call on certain media people that are pre-screened for him, and he even admits it during the press conferences. And now the media is starting to realize it. All the policies that he wanted to have fixed, all the things that he has done in the first 6 months of his administration are not coming to fruition. Inflation is still at record highs right now. Violent crime is on the rise all over the nation, which is why they're trying to go after guns, by the way. The border issue has not resolved in any way, shape, or form. COVID is still here, and no, it's not because of the evil protesters and anti-maskers and anti-vaccinated individuals. That's a lie, that's a farce, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But is he on the way out? We knew it would happen. The question is when. When would they boot him and invoke the 25th Amendment, say he's incapable of doing it? He's even admitted of even wanting to step aside and call for a medical issue for whatever reason. So is he about to step down, or are they about to boot him out? And what would happen? Unfortunately, what would happen is we'd have Kamala Harris actually take over for the presidency, which would be really, really scary, and then whoever she chooses as a VP for that. But at least we would know the true colors of what's really going on and what her stance is, as opposed to a puppet that just reads off of the cue cards and we don't know where things are actually coming from. We'd have a better idea because it would be in our face as opposed to behind the scenes in the shadows. So I guess there's a positive there?
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Should we keep going? Trying to be more entertaining than watching Joe Biden walk up a flight of stairs. See, that's what we do. Welcome into the show. You can find us online at HooserReason.com. I want to shift gears just a little bit here as we get into the latest in what's trending.
What's trending today?
And I want to get right into our guest for this half hour, which I'm super excited about. As we've talked a lot about California politics, because as you know, I mean, we're all over. We have a lot of listeners in California. Not on the radio yet. We're getting radio stations there. We are working on some, but we do have a lot of downloads of the podcast out in California, and it's wild to see what goes on in the state of California. The politics, the governor's race that's going on, the congressional races that are about to happen. We've talked to the new California movement, which is really fascinating. I got to be honest, I don't think that's going to happen, to be realistic, but it's entertaining to watch them get really fired up and want to make that happen. Then, of course, just what the heck, just the culture. It's fascinating to see how diverse the great state of California is. I've been there twice. I guess I've been to LAX, so I guess that counts as one, but I never left the airport. But I did spend some time at the Reagan Ranch out in Santa Barbara, California for a weekend in college, and it was a beautiful, beautiful area. Absolutely love California. But our next guest, he's from California, U.S. congressional candidate for Southern California's 35th congressional district. He's also part of the lawsuit going on with election integrity and the Election Integrity Project out of California, trying to clean up those elections. That's going to be fun. Excited to have on here Mr. Mike CARGILE with us here. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, Andy. I can't thank you enough for having me on.
It is great to have you on the program. I appreciate it. Elections, I've heard some of the shenanigans that go on with the elections out there with near like 2 million individuals that are improperly registered in just certain districts alone. It's wild to see how many people vote improperly, some of the weird numbers that come out of California. How are we doing, and are we starting to get that cleaned up just a little bit out there?
Well, this is, let me, your listeners need to understand what's really going on and the impact it is actually having on their lives right where they are right now. Because California politics is driving everything coast to coast right now. You think about it. Where's the Speaker of the House from? California. Where's the Minority Leader from? California. Where's the Vice President, the tie-break vote in the Senate from? California. Yeah. Where is the basis of H.R. 1, this horrible, horrible law or the bill that was crafted that will destroy Kansas, Missouri, Texas, you name it. This is going to take California law, as corrupt as it is, and it's going to federalize it, and it's going to impose it on every state in the nation. So that the lawsuit you mentioned, I'm a part of, we're trying to fix California election law. And by extension, then, we're trying to save the country, because the fate of the country is what you're looking at in California right now. We have been the victims here of more than 2 decades of shenanigans and illicit voting and fraudulent voting. So when you look at California, and I know how your listeners are, they're looking, they're going, what is wrong with those people over there?
Yeah.
I can tell you this, we didn't vote for it. We don't vote to raise our own taxes. We don't vote to destroy our school systems and chase hundreds of thousands of businesses out of our state. This has been imposed on us. And this is what you're really looking at, Andy, is a communist takeover of the United States, and its center, its epicenter, is California. And so this lawsuit is the most important legal action taking place in the entire nation right now. So many people are not even aware of what's going on, but we're actually headed to the Ninth Circuit. Now, that's crucial for you to understand, because a few weeks ago, the Supreme Court looked at a case out of Arizona, and they reversed the Ninth Circuit and said, you know what? Arizona does have the right to make ballot harvesting illegal because it's kind of a bad thing. And it is a bad thing. Yeah. It's actually an unconstitutional thing. So they reversed the Ninth Circuit. Guess where we're headed? The Ninth Circuit. I can't tell you how important this is.
That's a great one. I love it. Now, talk about the details of some of this lawsuit, because I know that we've had other ones as well, depending on around the country with some of the discrepancies. And H.R. 1, obviously, as you mentioned, is a huge thing with wanting to centralize elections and essentially just saying that states are irrelevant and we're just going to go at the national level to centralize these elections. So does it address any of that? Is it specifically for some of the fraudulent issues in that area? What's this lawsuit look like?
Well, this lawsuit is different than anything that has occurred ever before in lawsuits. Now, if you think back during the cycle with the general election, the Supreme Court refused to look on the issue of standing. They refused to look at the big suit that was brought by Texas. So what the Supreme Court was doing was telegraphing to the rest of the country, we're not going to take election cases. We're not going to be put in the position we were years ago with Bush v. Gore down in Florida. The Supreme Court will not decide national elections anymore. Okay, so that you're a bunch of cowards, but okay, so be it. So why did they look at the Arizona case? Well, it's because it was involving statutes. Now, they're not averse to that. They'll look at laws. Judges like looking at laws. So our brilliant attorneys crafted our suit, and we're looking at about 21 laws and regulations in the state of California that allow election fraud. Now, the basis of our suit is the Constitution, and there's 4 areas. Article 1, Section 4, which everybody heard about during the general election, that only state legislatures can conduct elections. You can't have the governor weigh in or even the state Supreme Court. Only the state legislature. So anything that a governor does on his own, blatantly unconstitutional. And then Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution says that the federal government has to protect us from foreign invasion, and they have to protect a Republican form of government. So, and then the last 2 parts of our lawsuit are the 14th Amendment, due process and equal protection. But let's just take invasion. You have ballot harvesting, and you have mail-in ballots, and this horrible no signature verification. How do you know that we're not being invaded by 30 million votes coming out of China? Because we have no mechanism in place to check that. Sure. There's no signature verification. And in fact, last minute, our attorney or Secretary of State here decided to allow what we call ballot stuffing, where a letter would come in and have 10 ballots in it. Some of them weren't even ballots. They just had a name written on a piece of paper. And he said, well, take them all. Take them. Because of COVID, we're not going to check anything. This is ballot trafficking. And this is blatantly unconstitutional.
Unbelievable. I can't believe that. I mean, I know every state has their own regulations on and requirements in order to register. I mean, here in the state of Kansas, where I'm at with our home base, I mean, we've done really well with voter ID laws, and they try to fight those left and right, but at least some type of validation. And then our state legislature just recently passed to where we can limit the amount of ballot harvesting and the amount of ballots you can actually take to try and limit some of those shenanigans. It sounds like that's the kind of stuff you guys need. On the grander scale, can we continue to fight this voter fraud issue? I mean, we had the the Election Integrity Commission for about 6 months, and our former Secretary of State, Chris Kobach, worked with Vice President Mike Pence on that. And then with all the lawsuits from the ACLU, it kind of got disbanded because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't verify ballots. They couldn't verify death certificates. They couldn't verify voter registration logs from county to county, state by state. They block us left and right. So something like this, I think this lawsuit would be kind of crucial to kind of allow the doors to open for more investigation into the issue.
Well, and you're exactly right. And you see, the Supreme Court can't take a case, or it can't pick up an issue without a case. We are that case. And when they look at us, they're going to see the laws that are blatantly unconstitutional. And this is going to gut H.R. 1 on arrival, dead on arrival. But you have to understand, everything I just mentioned is headed to Kansas. It's headed to Missouri. It's headed to Texas. It's headed everywhere. Because they've used California for the last 2 decades as a test kitchen for all these blatantly unconstitutional, egregious actions. And it's all headed to you guys. And so I say it like this. Election integrity is like cancer. Everyone says they want to cure cancer, but in reality, nobody wants to cure cancer because there's too much money to be made treating cancer. And it's the same thing with elections. Everyone says they want clean elections. In reality, both Republicans and Democrats are in on this because they do not want to release the reins of power and the outcomes of these elections to these pesky voters, to allow us to dictate the future of our country. So we, as the Election Integrity Project California, my co-plaintiff, we are getting hammered by both sides.
Sure.
I couldn't believe it, Andy. Both sides. I mean, and I'm not talking to little people. I'm talking about big-name Republicans, the kind of like Rick Grinnell's and Sidney Powell's and all these other people, Heritage Foundation. If you've gotten an email that says, oh, the elections were rigged, send me money, you should demand your money back because not one of them, this is the only suit in the state of California dealing with election integrity. And we are the only one that's going to protect the nation right now.
Well,
and I cannot believe... Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's such a big issue in California. It's surprising that you are the only one. You'd think that there'd be plenty of organizations trying to fight that in California because it's kind of evident. I mean, the Judicial Watch registered, as we mentioned, one county, like 2 million voters, registered voters that shouldn't be on the voter rolls. That's kind of an issue.
Kind of, right. I can tell you there's no, we're not missing anybody who's using it as a fundraising tool. Every GOP organization's out here pandering for money for election integrity, but not one of them is doing a thing. I mean, Ronna McDaniel, all of them included. You know, they got $300 million in at the Republican Party. And what have they done? They spent zero in Maricopa, and they've spent zero in California.
Wow.
I cannot believe it.
I tell you what, Mike, hold on the line here. We got to take a hard break. We're talking with Mike Cargile, congressional candidate for the 35th Congressional District in the state of California. CARGILEforcongress.com is the website. When we come back, I want to continue this conversation. How do we clean up these voter roll systems, make sure the elections are, legit, and we move forward for a proper election?
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Speaking of elections, we got just a few minutes left here of the program. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Thanks for joining us on a midweek celebration. There was the question, as usual, whenever he does an interview, thrown to former President Donald Trump. This one, a little bit different. Would you rather run against Joe Biden or Kamala Harris?
So we'll see what happens. We're doing really well. You're looking at the same polls that I'm looking at. But they're vicious people. They'll do anything to stop it. They want to stop the MAGA movement. They want to stop us. They want to stop me. They'll do anything. But I will say that I've never had polls like we're having right now. And a lot of that is buyer's remorse. A lot of that is, you know, they're looking at what's going on at our border. They're looking at our country, frankly, being destroyed. Our country is being destroyed. Millions of people are coming in, millions. And these people come out of jails. They come out of prisons. These are tough criminals like we've never seen before. And this is what's coming in to our country.
I have to admit, I mean, regardless of all that stuff, I mean, just the fact that the poll numbers are looking well, whether that's just the internal politics talking or whether it's actually legitimate, I think that there is a movement. We've talked about this on the show. There's a massive movement of energy on the right side of the aisle right now. We're talking with Mike CARGILE, a congressional candidate with Southern California's 35th district in the state of California, also co-plaintiff with the Election Integrity Project, working on trying to clean up some of the issues in the state of California. Mike, I mean, obviously you're jumping in the race for a midterm election a year and a half out. We have guests lined up nonstop with candidates running all over the country. I've never seen so many candidates jump into a race so early and so much publicity about them. And they're all conservative Republicans. I mean, we're all Republicans wanting to jump in. I think there's a major movement of realizing what happened in November, concerned about it happening again and making sure that we'll never allow it because we'll bog down the system and overrun the system so much that they can't try to do anything of any type of shenanigans again, because I think that so many people are that upset.
Oh, I agree with you. I saw it in November out here, believe it or not, in Rancho Cucamonga, California. I had a rally for President Trump, and we had 7.5 miles of cars end to end show up for a rally.
Wow.
Now tell me, and here, let me tell you about my district, okay? I'm in the 35th. I'm just east of LA. On one end of my district, I have the Fairplex at Pomona, one of the best drag strips in the country. At the other end of my district, I have the Auto Club Speedway, a NASCAR track. Now, what kind of people like drag racing and NASCAR?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And you're telling me that they went overwhelmingly for my opponent, who is a Guatemalan communist, and Joe Biden, who didn't even win the primary in California. Bernie Sanders did.
Yeah.
So you're telling me this state went with record numbers for Joe Biden? I don't believe that for a moment.
That's mind-boggling. Now, your district, I'm glad you mentioned, because I wanted to talk about that. And Norma Torres, Congresswoman, as you mentioned, is the one that holds that one. And it looks like historically it's been predominantly kind of a Democrat place. I know that was where Congresswoman Maxine Waters was before she went off to the Senate as well. But you had some good numbers in there. And if you do clean up the system, then it would be a heck of a lot more balanced race, wouldn't it?
Oh, my goodness. You have no idea how inflated or bloated the voter rolls are out here. And they were told by the federal courts that they had to purge them. And then California looked at the federal statute regarding voter rolls, and they said, that's more of a suggestion than a mandate, so we're going to kind of keep them all.
Wow.
And they did. We've got, literally, you mentioned it, we have 1.8 million registered voters in California. Then we have citizens. Seriously, we have the most bloated rolls, and most of them are, let's take another thing. Out here we have what's called the Motor Voter Act. So when you're here illegally and you go get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote, and you will get a ballot unless you go out of your way to opt out of it.
Which, how many people actually do that, honestly? Yeah.
Exactly. And they're told, here, use a ballot, vote. They don't know any better. They're here illegally. And so then you'll have people who go along with and they'll collect all this. Is the ballot harvesting machine they've put in place. Now, it's even worse than all that. You mentioned my opponent, Norma. Norma is a Guatemalan communist. Now, remember, where did Kamala Harris go when she went to Central America? She went to Guatemala. The
Who
majority of
got
the
booted
people come... Say again?
She got booted out. I mean, she wasn't popular there.
No, but she thought she would be, and that's the key. She
Yeah.
went down there because Norma and company have been priming that. And most of the people coming from across the border are coming from Guatemala.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Mike Cargile, CargileForCongress.com. We're out of time, my friend. Good luck with it. We want to get you back on the show again and get another update on that one and the campaign. Can we do that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It would be a pleasure.
I love it. It's great. Mike, I appreciate that very much. That does it for us today. We're out of time. We could go on and on for this, and we're going to here again real soon. Until then, podcast going up in just a little bit. Make sure to be your own voice of reason. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow for a Thursday. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
host Mark Walters. Join me for Armed American Radio every weeknight at 8 for your hour of daily defense. We talk everything guns, Second Amendment, helping protect your right to own and carry a firearm, and more. Also, make sure to catch Armed American Radio live every Sunday evening, 7 to 10. It's what you need to know to protect your right to defend yourself. It's Armed American Radio, and it's right here on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 1025 FM, KQAM.
Armed American Radio on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Clay from Best Body Shop in with us, and what's different